as this is if you have studied the previous one, then this should automatically be the easiest for you. Here it is similar to the nesting, interrupt nesting, but only the difference here is we'll be having one INTR line, not like it's not completely same. So in INTR you had multiple lines, right? So here what will happen, one INTR line is common for all the devices. If you can see the diagram over here, you can see for all the devices, n number of devices, only one interrupt request. INTR is nothing but interrupt request. Okay, this INTR, I will be saying IR line, so just understand. So this IR line is common for all the devices, but this IA is nothing but INTA, interrupt acknowledge line. From the processor, it is like arranged in a daisy chain fashion. How means from this it will go to device 1, and then again after from device 1 it will go to device 2, one after the another, like that, so on up to device n. So here what happens is now multiple devices now suddenly like simultaneously will have, so all these devices everyone will send request, IR request. Now processor should know, right, should have a mechanism how to handle multiple requests simultaneously. So for that what the processor does now, so this INTA is there, that signal, INTA signal, that line, what is that, it will set that INTA line to 1. So after it sets to 1, what happens now, it will come to this first device first. Okay, so if this device now, if it is having some pending request, suppose it had sent some request, it will perform that particular interrupt instruction, and then only it will pass this INTA to device 2. If it is not having any request, then it will pass to device 2. If it is having, then it will block that signal over there, then it will take use of this INTA signal, complete this instruction, then only it will enable again and send to the device 2, next device. Okay, so that's how the basic concept of the simultaneous request is. So if we read now this whatever is written, it should be easy for us to understand. Now see here, when simultaneously requests arrive, the processor must have a mechanism to decide which request to service. Okay, so for that what it does now, it has this INTR line, it is common to all the devices, then the INTA line is connected in a daisy chain fashion, so one after the another. So you can recall in your physics that you have resistor connected in series, that in the same fashion is nothing but your daisy chain fashion, the INTA signal propagates serially through the device. So after one after the another device, it will propagate serially. When several devices raise an IR, the INTR line is activated. As soon as we receive an interrupt request, this line will be activated. Okay, then the signal processor responds to this request by setting the INTA line to 1. So when it is set to 1, the signal is received by the device 1, which is basically the closest to the processor. Then it passes the signal to the next device only if it does not require any services. If it requires any services, what it does, it disables, blocks the INT signal and puts its identifying code on the data line. If there is signal pending, if there is a pending request for this interrupting device, the device 1 blocks and so on. So the device is electrically closest to the processor has the highest priority. So now you understood whatever I explained, right? So you can write from your own, not necessarily you have to write like this, you can reduce this to some small thing also and write. So just understand the diagram. So this diagram is for your daisy chain fashion, and in that if you have some priority type thing, just you have to draw this, nothing but just flip this like this, another once, that same thing is nothing but this diagram. Only one additional thing you have to write is priority arbitrary circuit. So that's all you have about your simultaneous request. So usually they'll ask this question, explain the daisy chain fashion of handling device, and with this they won't ask just this for if they ask only this, it will be for 5 marks. If not, for 10 marks they will ask this with priority chain scheme. What is that priority chain scheme? It is nothing but your privileged nesting, interrupt nesting. Okay, two questions will be asked together, interrupt nesting and this simultaneous request, but they won't give this heading. They'll ask you either daisy chain fashion scheme or this priority level chain, priority chain thing. If not, what they'll ask you about interrupt hardware, handling, enabling, disabling interrupt. Then they'll ask for handling multiple devices. All this thing they'll ask for 10 marks. This is the easiest thing if they comes. If you know one small basic idea also, something you can write related to that with block diagrams, and for arams you can fill 2 to 3 pages, and obviously you have to get 10 marks for that. So that's how the completes everything about your interrupt and this your accessing memory. So that's all. This is there is today, right, for your this decision fashion or simultaneous request.